Okay, so we're working on the last major writing project of the semester, and that is the warning report. This is 100% college level essay writing. So we're not going to be doing a memo or anything like that. We're just going straight forward with an argumentative style essay. So what makes it an argumentative style essay? Well, essentially what we're going to do is make an argument that there is this problem and this is what we need to do about it. In your analysis essay or the ethical dilemma essay, you were saying this is essentially a problem and this is why it's a problem. In this essay, we're going to have a call to action. We're going to try to get our company to do whatever it is that you think should be done about whatever issue you can choose. Now, this should be an issue that is pertinent to your profession, to your particular industry. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about cars or about necessarily just automobiles. It could be about the manufacturing. It could be about hiring practices. It could be about the idea of unions, or it could be about anything you want to have it to be about. But it does need to be something that has some kind of bearing on your profession. So here's one of the things that I really want you to think about. First of all, you know more about this than I do. I am not an expert in this, and you work in this every single day. So I am an ideal audience member for this essay. When we think about audience awareness for an essay of this sort, we have to always remember your audience is either not really very aware of what goes on, really unable to make a decision, is this good or bad? Or your audience would be on the opposite side of this issue that you're on. So for instance, if your argument was Subaru needs to make a flying spaceship car, that's your argument. Well, you should assume that your audience would be either so unfamiliar with that topic that they really can't make a decision, or that they're against the spaceship car, okay? So I don't really want to see anything about a spaceship car, and I'm sure that won't be something that you write about, but that was just an example. So with this essay, we need to think about, we have our audience in mind. Our audience is either someone, we need to educate a little bit, or someone who we need to prove that we know what we're talking about. If someone disagrees with you on an issue, most likely they will discount your point of view if you can't come across as someone who is knowledgeable about that subject. So you need to come across as someone who is knowledgeable, who has objective truth. Okay, so what that means is you're not just someone who has an opinion, you're someone who has an opinion that is a rational opinion. You've made a rational conclusion based on the evidence that you've been presented with in your research. That's also why we're going to do some research on this particular project. Not a lot, but a little bit. So as you prepare for this assignment, what I'd like you to do is brainstorm. Really think about, what are the issues that my industry should care about? What are the issues that my specific factory should care about? What are the specific things that maybe Subaru as a company should think about and care about? What are some issues that are coming down the line that we need to think about? And what do we need to do to avoid problems? Maybe there's a problem, one of the big things that I hear a lot of people talking about is how everybody's going to electric cars, everyone's researching self-driving cars. So, maybe that's an issue. Maybe there's problems that I can foresee with those things, and these are ways we can overcome those problems before they even become a problem for us. So this is basically how we can avoid those problems. Maybe you know something about hiring practices or disciplinary issues that happen in the workplace, or pay scale issues, or discrimination, or anything that you know about. That's fantastic. Use the knowledge you already have to guide you. Something that it's like, man, I feel like this, if we don't do something about this as a company and really work for this, if we don't do something about this, we're going to have a problem. And it's one thing to say, hey, if we don't do something about it, we're going to have a problem. That's what we did kind of in our last essay, right? In our last essay, we said this is an issue, and this is why it's an issue. Okay, that's going to be part of this assignment. But in addition to saying this is an issue and this is why it's an issue, we need you to come up with some kind of a solution. Now, it doesn't have to be, for instance, with the electric car. Okay, so, you don't have to say, well, I've invented the flux capacitor and this is how we're going to make this thing happen, right? You don't have to be some kind of, engineer, maybe something that, okay, this is not my skill set. However, maybe you can say, well, this company should invest in this particular kind of research, or okay, maybe we should avoid competing in this realm because it's already saturated. Maybe we should focus more on this realm of the business. So you don't have to have the technical know-how to pull this stuff off, but you at least do need to do enough research to know that it can be pulled off. Again, time travel or spaceships or things like that, okay, I think we can all agree that that's kind of unrealistic. It makes for a great movie, but it's not something that your company probably can do within the next few years. So what you should think about, okay, so what are some issues? What are some changes in this industry? What are some things that I do need to think about, our company needs to think about in order to stay competitive in the future, or in order to avoid lawsuits, or in order to whatever, okay? So I want you to really brainstorm on that before you start writing. Get a pencil and paper, just jot down ideas. Really get into what are some things that may need to be thought about. This is also a time whenever, if you want to, you could talk to fellow classmates. Don't steal anybody's ideas, but if two people write about the same subject, that's fine. So if you and your friend both write about the same exact issue, that's totally fine. The only thing that we want to avoid is plagiarism. So if you're using the same words, if I recognize certain paragraphs, boy, they look similar, that's when we have a problem. But if you want to, if maybe a lot of you think, well, we've been talking about this and this thing is the most pertinent issue and this is what needs to be done about it, well, that's fine. I would rather not read a bunch of essays that are all saying the same thing. So try to, be original, but at the same time, if there is one solution that seems like, wow, this really, even though a lot of people talk about this is why this solution is the best solution, that's fine too. Maybe you want to give me multiple reasons why this solution that a lot of people agree with me on this. A lot of people agree with me on that this is the right way to go. Well, that's great. Give me a lot of good reasons why that is the right way to go. Use your research, and in another video I'm going to maybe talk a little bit more about how you can use your research to back those things up. But before you start writing this essay, really take some time to think. These are the big things I want you to think about, okay? First of all, just think about your industry and the future of this industry. What is coming down the line? Maybe the future of your profession specifically. So maybe your profession within this business is not specifically building the cars, but it's vital to the organization. So how can we avoid causing problems for the overall organization, by making this one change in our specific department? Whatever, but basically I want you to really brainstorm on, okay, what is the issue that I'm going to discuss? And then think about what are possible solutions. What are good ideas that I've heard? What are bad ideas that I've heard? What are solutions to this problem that might be something that I could present to a reader? Think about those things before you start writing this essay. Take a good look at the assignment sheet, and just before you begin writing, really take some time to think. Once you've done that, then take a look at some sources, do a little research. Go on the internet, or really one of the things, and I have another video on our site about the Vincennes University Online Library. The VU Online Library is probably going to be the easiest way for you to get your citations done, for you to get really high quality sources. So make sure to look at the VU Online Library. There is a link, let's see, I bet it's this way. There is a link on our site. I don't know, it's hard to know whenever you're filming which direction I'm going to be, but I think it's that way. It's in the control panel. So on the control panel on the left side of your screen, there is a link to the VU Online Library. When you click on that, you can follow the directions I'm going to give you on this other video that I'll post to find some good sources. Once you've found some good sources, think about, okay, why are they good sources? Take a look at the crap sheet that I have in the folder for annotated bibliography. Think about, okay, how can I use this source to prove my point? How can I use this source to explain my issue better? Okay, so think a lot before you begin this essay. Do some research. Figure out what it is you're going to say before you start to try to say it. All right, get started.